Hello and welcome to Post to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. We did Vancouver, now it's time for Edmonton, the seasonal report card. And I forgot to mention this in the last video. I'm actually not giving these teams a rating as far as like a grade. I'd like you guys to do that down in the comment section. So if you could, at the end of this video, please go down to the comment section. Let me know what you think about the Edmonton Oilers and give me a letter grade. How would you grade their season? All right, let's get into it. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the Vancouver video. I have this spot free here to put some graphics on the screen for you guys. We'll kind of talk about them. Then I'm going to go through some pros, some cons, and then I'll round it off with my final thoughts on the team and how I feel about them moving forward. Okay, so let's look at the stats. I mean, if you just compare from last year to this year, things have been, for the most part, the same. They saw a drastic increase in their power play, which was awesome. Great to see. There's no reason why a team with Draisaitl and McDavid should have had a power play at 14.8%. Really happy it's up to 21.2% this year. I saw a bit of a dip in their penalty kill. Their shots for per game actually went down by 4.2. It doesn't seem like a lot, but that's actually a pretty drastic difference from year to year. And their face-off winning percentage basically stayed the same. So other than the shots for per game and power play percentage, their seasons together have been pretty consistent comparing last to this. Disappointing season last year. Very disappointing season this year. Lots of drama. We'll get into that in a little bit. They ended their season 3-5-2. Not a very good record at all, but at least they ended it on a win. They beat, I think it was Calgary that last game. Maybe I think it was the last game of the season. Yeah, it was because McDavid got injured in that one. But speaking of McDavid, he had an incredible year, absolutely incredible year. Draisaitl as well. I mean, over 50 goals. That's tremendous. I mean, he's kind of playing to the value of his contract, which a lot of people were worried about. So if you think about Edmonton globally and how terrible they did last year and how terrible they did this year, the fact that McDavid was able to put up all those points and Draisaitl was able to put up all those goals, imagine what this team could do or what those two players could do when they have the support. I mean, true support that some of the other teams do. Pretty incredible. We got to see some young talent from Edmonton this year, which was awesome. I got to see a little bit of Yamamoto. Even Curry was up there for a little bit. That was pretty cool, and lots of others. But it's kind of hard to develop in that culture, that not necessarily losing culture, but just the culture of change, the culture of inconsistency. Being a young player in that environment must be extremely frustrating, and I can't even imagine being a part of that. Yamamoto was up, and then he's down, and then up, and then I don't know. It's tough to develop in that, so we're gonna have to see moving forward. And I guess that's a good segue into the cons. McDavid's injury at the end of the season. As in filming this now, it does not require surgery. I think it was a PCL tear, and it does not require surgery, so that's good news. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to look like for recovery time. I don't think they've announced that yet, as far as I'm aware, but looks like he'll be back at the beginning of next season, which is pretty cool. As a team, from the outside, just as a hockey fan looking at Edmonton, that was some of the worst defensive hockey I think I've seen from a team in probably 5 or 6 years. It was terrible, specifically near the end of the season. Every single Edmonton game I seem to watch, just puck watching. And just defensive, and specifically in the defensive zone, just standing there, puck watching. There was a replay. I can't remember which team it was against, but there was a player standing right in front of the net, and there were 5 Edmonton players just kind of around him like a shield, and just not covering him at all. Puck went to him. They scored. It was sad. So very frustrating hockey to watch. Tom McLellan fired. That in itself is not just hard for the fans because they have to, see their team change structurally. Maybe they play a little bit more defensively. Maybe they play a little bit more offensively. Things change depending on the coach. So to see that as a fan and have to go through those growing pains is a bit frustrating. But imagine being one of the players, having to relearn a system or learn a new system and have to adapt to a new coach and make plays that you never really want to make plays. Some players are held back a little bit by the systems that they play. Ovechkin changed his game a little bit in the past 2 years based on coaching. So sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But regardless, change is hard to take in the middle of a season. And even emotionally, like for the players, that's frustrating. And then you had the GM that was fired as well. Like, that's another change that you have to process and sit on. And these are some of the things that McDavid said at the end of the year that were some really huge frustrations the entire year. So that's pretty taxing on the players. Koskinen, he's so inconsistent. He had games where he was unreal and highlight reel saves and completely won the game for Edmonton. But then there's just games where he's just useless. And specifically glove side. This was noted frequently by many people, but his glove side near the end of the year was just terrible. Teams were literally shooting glove every single shot because they knew he had a weak glove. So he needs to work on that. The last thing I want to mention is not really a big deal. The Lucic contract, which has been there for a couple of years, I really don't think it's a serious issue for Edmonton, but it is definitely looming. I know Edmonton fans, or not every Edmonton fan, some Edmonton fans like Lucic and what he's doing on the team. That's fine. But I know that there's a lot of Edmonton fans out there. I've heard you guys in the comments with your frustrations on that Lucic contract. So they want that gone. It's looming. It's on the back of everyone's mind. So I would definitely consider that a con. So final thoughts on this team. So what legitimately can the Oilers do to make this team better? Do they need to be better from within, or do they need to bring help in? Do they need to bring in some supporting cast to help McDavid and Draisaitl, or do they have what it takes to actually be better themselves? I think it's a bit of both. I really don't think they need that much from the outside. I think this team has a lot of talent on it. I think they have what it takes to really probably go deep in the playoffs. And we saw it a couple of years ago. All it takes is to believe. And that year, Edmonton was believing. There were some questionable goals. I won't bring that up against Anaheim, but some stuff went down. And I think this team is way, way better than they look on the stat sheet last year and this year. So I really expect Edmonton to do better this coming year. I predicted them to have 99 points this year. They got 79. I was off by 20. Totally wrong. I really thought this team was going to be better. I think they're going to be better next year. Maybe I'm going to be wrong again. Maybe they'll get 79 points again or close to that. If they do, drastic changes are going to have to come. There's been a lot of talk about McDavid being traded because of his comments at the end of the season. I don't put anything in that. I think that was just frustration. I think that was blown over by the media, to be honest. Not worried about that whatsoever. I can't imagine McDavid leaving Edmonton anytime soon. Maybe eventually, but not anytime soon. So thanks, guys, for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on the Edmonton Oilers down below in the comment section. Hit the like button down below if you did like this video, and please hit the subscribe button and share the video. This is your first time, and we're trying to grow the channel, so if I could get your subscription, that would be awesome. Hope you're having a good day, and we'll see you for the next report card video. Adios.